Peace and blessings of God be upon us all. Welcome to another episode. Here I just want to share with us a bit of a small research about the book called The Gospels and Jesus by Professor Stanton. And what I would just like to share with us is I am naturally impressed by the extraordinary convergence between the Quranic narrative about the status and the teachings and the role of Jesus Christ in relation to the majority view of modern New Testament scholars on Jesus. So, and this is just one example. Professor Stanton, in his book, he said so many things about Jesus Christ, and towards the last part of his book, in the last chapter of his book, titled Who is Jesus of Nazareth, he made some claims and he concluded some things. One of the things he concluded was that Jesus Christ did not intend to start a new religion, and also that he proposed, or he was furthering the fact that Judaism has to be changed. There needs to be a change in terms of Judaism. There needs to be a change, going back to the basics. So he thought, going back to the basics, that he did not come to actually repudiate the scripture or to actually go against the law of Moses, but he, however, emphasized that some scriptural principles be given priority over others. So, and one thing spectacular or amazing about this conclusion of Stanton in his book is that it goes exactly with the Quranic view of Jesus Christ, where it says in Quran chapter 19 verse 30 that Jesus Christ declared that Inni Abdullah atani al-kitab wa ja'alani nabiyya, I am the prophet of God, he has given me the book and made me a prophet. And also in Quran chapter 3 verse 49, where Jesus is reported to have said that wa rasulan ila bani Israel, God is saying that he is going to send him as a messenger to the children of Israel. And also in verse 50 we are told that wa musaddiqan lima bayna yaday, he is going to confirm the Torah min at-Tawrat, the Torah which came before him, وَلِيُحِلَّ لَكُمْ بَعْضَ الَّذِي حُرِّمَ عَلَيْكُمْ, and also he is going to make permissible some of the things that have been made forbidden for them in the law of Moses. And he continues by saying that فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَأَطِيعُونِ, fear God and obey me. إِنَّ اللَّهَ رَبِّي وَرَبُّكُمْ فَاعْبُدُوا هَذَا صِرَاطٌ مُسْتَقِيمٌ, verily God is my Lord and your Lord. So this is a straight way. So we just see this convergence, this extraordinary convergence between the research of modern day New Testament scholars with that of the Quran, and it is amazing. But one other thing I would like to share with you, which is most amazing in my opinion, is the position of Jesus regarding the law of Moses and also the Quran. So we just want to look on this, and what we need to understand is that there were some certain Christians in the early century who believed that Jesus Christ had actually come to do away with the law of Moses, that we do no longer need the law of Moses. And a prime example of this is the Paul of Tarsus, who thought that Jesus Christ had brought an end to the law, and that we are now in a period of grace. We only need to believe by faith alone. It is only by faith alone that we are saved. So in Ephesians 2 verse 15, I will just read it out for us. In Ephesians 2 verse 15, Paul says, he said that he did this, that Jesus Christ did this by ending the system of law with its commandment and regulation. In other words, Jesus Christ has ended the law, and also with its corresponding commandment and regulation. We no longer need those regulations again. And also in the book of Romans 7 verse 6, he also made a similar statement where he said that but now we have been released from the law, for we died to it and are no longer captive to its power. So in other words, according to him, the law is no longer, is obsolete, is invalid. And also there were some other Christians, some other early Christians who believed that the law is forever valid. And a good example is the Gospel of Matthew, saying that Jesus Christ taught that I came not to destroy the law or the prophets, for I came to fulfill. Verily, till heaven and earth pass away, one jot or one tittle shall in no way pass away from the law till all be fulfilled. A jot or tittle is just the smallest letter in the Greek alphabet. So in other words, one tiny letter of the Greek alphabet will not be taken away from the law till all be fulfilled. And this is the view of Matthew, that he said this is the view of Jesus Christ. So we have some early Christians who said that Jesus Christ has taken away the law, or that we no longer need, is invalid, while we have some other Christians who say that it is actually valid. And so we have some Christians who, reading this verse of Matthew, they tend to reconcile with that of Paul by saying that Jesus Christ actually fulfilled the law by ending it. He fulfilled the law by ending it. But this is playing with words, and also it goes against the remainder of the verses. If you go forward reading from verse 17, Matthew chapter 5 verse 17 downwards, you see that Jesus Christ continued by saying that whoever shall break one of these least commandments and teach men to do so shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. In other words, he wants us to do all of the law, and whoever will break even a single part of the law will be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do this law and also teach men to do so shall be called the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. So according to Jesus Christ, the law is eternally binding, to the extent that if you break one of the smallest part of the law, then you are guilty and you will be in danger of judgment. However, in the same Matthew chapter 5 verse 31, we are told that Jesus Christ somehow cancelled one of the laws of the New Testament, which is the law about divorce. We've been told in Deuteronomy 24 that Moses actually gave this commandment that if you want to divorce your wife, you can give her a letter of divorce. But here, Jesus Christ made a new regulation stating that no, we cannot divorce our wives except for fornication's sake. So this was a new regulation, and he also continued by saying, whosoever marries the woman that has been divorced also commits adultery. So this is a new regulation that he put in place, and so we have a problem reconciling the fact that he told us that we should follow all the law of Moses, and thereafter in the same chapter we are told that he cancelled some of them, and also reconciling all of this with the works of Paul, where he said the law in its entirety, in its regulation, all of it has been cancelled. So how do we make sense of all of this? Now, to make sense of all of this, there is a third position. There is a third possible position, which is what I want to share. In the opinion of Professor Graham, he states a third position, and that third position is that he said that on rare occasions, Jesus Christ did not repudiate Scripture, but on rare occasions, I'm going to put the link or the reference of this what I'm quoting now. I'm going to put it in the description of this video. So he said that on rare occasions, Jesus Christ did not repudiate the Scripture, but on rare occasions, what he did was that he made sure that some certain laws, also some certain scriptural principles, are taken above the others as priority over others. So he made some changes in some certain rare occasions, but he did not repudiate all of the Scripture or all of the law of Moses, but in some certain rare occasions he did so. So how do we, this kind of conclusion, how do we as people reading the Quran, how do we see this? This is also another extraordinary convergence with the Quran, because from Quran chapter 3 verse 50, where I read, the Quran says that among the functions of Jesus Christ is that he came to confirm the law which came before him, and he has come to make legal some of those things that have been made forbidden for them. So if we are to go with the conclusion of modern scholarship on this topic, we will realize that the truth is not what Paul said on one hand. So what Paul said is erroneous by saying that Jesus Christ has come to do away with the law. It is erroneous, and please take note that Paul did not meet Jesus Christ at any point in his life. And also the view of Matthew that Jesus Christ commanded disciples to do all of the law of Moses is also erroneous. In Matthew chapter 23, where we are told towards the end of Jesus' ministry, we are told in verse 2 and 3 that Jesus Christ said that the Jews, the scribes and Pharisees, the scribes means the expert of the religious law, the scribes and the Pharisees, they sit in Moses' seat. So do as they command you, but do not do after their works, because they are people who practice what they don't preach. In other words, Jesus Christ was not going after their teachings, but he was talking about their actions, that the actions are not good and we should not follow them in their actions, but we should follow them in their teachings, which represent Moses. So according to the book of Matthew, Jesus Christ stood for Moses, and he instructed his disciples to follow all of the teachings of Moses. So this view is also erroneous according to the conclusion of modern scholarship. And this is the position of the Quran, that yes, he came to confirm the law of Moses, but definitely there were some changes he made to it. So the Quran says, well, he came to make legal some of the things that were forbidden for them previously. And some people might say that perhaps Professor Graham Stanton is just alone a figure in terms of scholarship. Perhaps he's the only one who made this kind of conclusion. I would like to introduce us to another statement by another scholar in the book New Jerome Biblical Commentary, edited by Raymond Brown. Raymond Brown is one of the foremost New Testament scholar in the 20th century. So, and in the New Jerome Biblical Commentary, he states, so he said this: the problem arises because the plain sense of the word is that Jesus affirms the abiding validity of the Torah, but this contradicts Paul. This is a commentary on Matthew chapter 5 verse 17, by the way. I continue. There are contradictions within the New Testament on penultimate matters. Matthew 5 verse 17 to 20 was written against the Hellenizing Christians, particularly Paul and his followers. This is what he says in New Jerome Biblical Commentary. By the way, the New Jerome Biblical Commentary has been recommended by the Church Times, as saying that it can confidently be recommended as the one-volume critical exegetical commentary of the Bible. So the Church Times actually recommend this, the New Jerome Biblical Commentary. And it continues, the New Jerome Biblical Commentary continues. It says, concerning verses 17, 19, and 20, it knows that this reflects the outlook of Jewish Christianity. In other words, Matthew chapter 5 reflects a position of Jewish Christianity, which as a separate movement was eventually defeated by Paulinism, which teaches the fact that we no longer need the law. He said, which was eventually defeated by Paulinism and died out, perhaps to be reborn in a different form as Islam. This is on page 641 of the New Jerome Biblical Commentary. This is amazing. For me, this is just amazing. This last quote is a remarkable acknowledgement by modern scholarship that the practices and beliefs of Islam, it goes hand in hand with what we can call the Jewish Christians of the first century, that they upheld the law of Moses, but there were some changes in it. Not entirely the law of Moses, because Jesus Christ made some changes in it. So this is the view I just want to share with us, and this is something that we need to really talk to people about. We need to let people know about this amazing and extraordinary convergence between the Quran and modern scholarship. Raymond Brown, we can check out Raymond Brown, we can check out Graham Stanton for more information on them. So the question I'm asking is, for those who are not Muslim, who are reading this, or who are listening to this rather, is this another sign for the divine origin of the Quran? That the Quran says something about 1,400 years ago, and now modern scholarship are now coming to that same conclusion on reading the Bible itself. So I'll leave that to you, for our audience, for you to decide. We can make your comments and let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Peace and blessings of God be upon us all.